Welcome to the Sports Marketing Huddle. I'm your host, Rob Cressy, founder of Bacon Sports. And joining me today is Allie Dicken, Director of Brand Marketing for the San Francisco 49ers. Allie, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Rob. How are you?
I am doing absolutely amazing for several reasons. One of them being the NFL draft is in 2 days, and we're recording this on Tuesday, about 48 hours before the NFL draft. And what we're going to jam about today is a combination of things. The 49ers have their 75th anniversary campaign. Last year, I had Alex Chang, the CMO of the 49ers, on to talk about the Faithful to the Bay campaign. And of course, we're also going to talk about the countdown to the draft. How's all that sound?
Sounds great.
So let's start with the draft because it's the thing that I am most excited about. And I wanted to see if you could give us some behind the scenes of what's going on in your world from a marketing standpoint as it relates to the NFL draft.
Yeah, so a lot's going on for us. So this past Sunday night, we revealed our 75th logo and announced that it was our 75th season. So we released that with a hero video revealing the logo. And that really was the start of our draft week in terms of content. So for us, it's been a lot of integrating that 75th branding into all of our assets that are going to be going out on digital social. So all of our creative integration into our pre-draft show, Countdown to Draft. So 75th logo and branding integration into that. And then just all of our content that we're working on for draft. So much goes into preparing when you don't know who you're going to pick and having to be prepared for all different scenarios. So a lot going on, but we're really excited to see what unfolds on Thursday.
When it comes to the content creation for the draft, do you guys have things templatized as much as you can so that you can then, depending on who you guys pick, throw it into something that you've already created so you're not starting completely from scratch?
For sure, yeah. So our design team has a folder and basically they look at, really they do it for an insane amount of prospects and cut out those players so that we have their imagery ready to go. So it's really templatized as much as possible to be able to quickly, drag and drop when the picks are made to be able to get that content out timely and, very, very timely as soon as it happens. So, yeah, that's really the process that our design team does in terms of being able to quickly plug and play.
What is the buzz like inside an organization for the NFL draft? And certainly the 49ers have all of the eyeballs in the NFL on them right now, sitting at the number 3 pick, having traded up. I know I'm excited and I'm a casual fan, but what's it like being in an organization where this is actually part of what you do?
It's crazy. I mean, I've worked in sports for a long time and it's always exciting going into draft and we all go on social and see what everyone is saying. And definitely we're at the forefront of what people are talking about right now in terms of the anticipation around who we're going to pick and all of that. So there's a really exciting buzz in the organization that we're just excited for the future. I mean, we have a very talented team and to just be able to add on top of that this year, especially with the number 3 pick, is just icing on the cake for all of us. So we're all just really excited to see what happens.
Have you guys seen your draft coverage or content increase throughout the years as the NFL has grown, as has content? Because it feels like every single year we want to be consuming more and more, which means you guys need to be able to either keep up with that or present the opportunities. Like you mentioned, having a pre-draft show 20 years ago, I don't know if teams were doing pre-draft shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been elevated on a league level. There's been, even from when I started, end of 2016 to now, there's been a lot more content opportunities that have been given from the league side. Prior to last year with COVID, there was on-the-ground activation that we were doing at draft with clubs. So there's definitely, I think, over the years, we're seeing more of a focus on spotlighting draft and giving clubs more opportunities to engage with it and as things are shifting to more virtual too, especially after last year, adding more virtual programming and The NFL has their draft-a-thon that they do as well, where different players and celebrities are going to be calling into that. They did that last year for COVID when everything was virtual. But yeah, definitely there's been an increase in terms of eyeballs on draft for sure. And whenever we have a an early pick, that definitely helps too.
I'm curious how quickly the marketing team gets the opportunity to engage or create with the new players that a team drafts. So irregardless of who you guys draft at number 3, how quickly does all of a sudden, all right, now we can start building branding around him from an in-person side of things, because you've probably got a lot of, let's call it stock content or their college content. But as a 49ers fan, I would want to start hearing behind the scenes. Let me start endearing myself to the player. So what does that look like for you guys? Because I can't imagine that Kyle Shanahan's like, you know what, let's send them to marketing first.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's different every year, and it's different with the picks and timeline and all of that. The big thing on our list whenever we get a new player, whether that's through draft or a trade or an off-season acquisition, but is bringing them in and being able to do a media day with them in full uniform. So, until then, there's a lot of photoshopping to put jerseys on them. For content, and until we can really get that 49ers specific content of them in uniform. But really, it just depends every year and what that timing looks like compared to their other obligations. They have league obligations and partner obligations night of draft. And so it really depends on when they come in and when we can get them in uniform. And the earlier, the better is best for us.
So let's keep things looking forward and talk a little bit more about the 75th anniversary campaign that the 49ers are doing. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Yes. So the 75th anniversary, we've been working on this for a really long time. So it actually started in summer of 2019. We got sent, there's kind of a cool story with it. So summer of 2019, we were sent a cold email to a handful of us at the organization from a college student who had been working on a school project, and he chose for his school project to do it on our 75th anniversary. And he had sent us a deck with a bunch of ideas. And the cool thing that ended up happening is we were actually hiring for a designer at the time, and he ended up getting the job. So we were able to bring him in, and he actually took the lead on developing our logo. So those initial conversations and developing the logo and the branding really started, once he got brought on board, we really started that fall of 2019. And then it was, quite a process from there of, you have to work very closely with the league on a 75th anniversary celebration. And anytime you alter a jersey, like by adding a patch, it's quite the process with the league and Nike for that. So the timelines, you have to start, very early. So we were working very closely with the league on that, and Nike and the company that did our patch. Last spring, we were, getting all the proofs of the patch, tweaking colors, tweaking embroidery, just all of the details in that. And so last summer we finalized, the patch and submitted that. And then this past Sunday night, we launched 75th with our hero video that, it's a diamond celebration this year for our 75th. And so the video had a concept of basically a diamond with the reflections in the diamond showing highlights of, 49ers through the years, the past 75 years. So that went out on Sunday. 75th is integrated into everything for draft this week. And then beyond, we have other key points in the marketing calendar of really, 75th integration ahead of season, and then quite a few things planned for this season as well. But yeah, in short, it's quite a process to do an anniversary season, and a lot goes into that.
And let that be a testament to everyone who says, how do you get a job working in sports or for a professional sports team? And what I love is the hustle from that kid to be proactive 2 years in advance. And, oh, by the way, when you get the choice of what you want to create for a college project, him having the forward-thinking nature to be like, let me create for the San Francisco 49ers 75th anniversary campaign, which, by the way, he has to be a huge 49ers fan to be able to think 2 years in advance. But there is no traditional way for how you create your dream opportunity, and let that be a fantastic example of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he took a shot sending that to all of us, and it was, a big deck with massive, actually a variety of just different ideas of things that we could do. And we ended up bringing him in, and the logo changed from what he had initially had in his school project, but various things that were in his project, ended up coming to life. And so really cool for him. And shout out Brandon Tam, that's our designer, that did the school project and got in. And yeah, great, example of someone just taking a shot and doing that and getting their foot in the door.
When I look at anniversary or special edition anything for a team, what interests me the most is the merchandise and the apparel. More specifically for me, I love hats. I love just rocking a hat and making it look fresh. And I'm curious from your guys' perspective, what goes into the apparel or creating a hat side of things? Because I have to imagine with the buzz the 49ers are receiving from the upcoming draft, and then this being a 75th anniversary edition, everyone's going to want a fresh new 49ers hat.
For sure. You're spot on. So retail is really important to us. It was really important for us with our Faithful to the Bay campaign that launched ahead of season last year. And then also a really important pillar of our 75th anniversary. So the retail timelines are also, you have to do things way in advance for retail as well. So, I mean, we've been working on the retail thought process since early last year, really. So really long timelines to be able to get retail done, but that was something we really prioritized. Retail is huge in terms of when you think of the brand, people being able to buy merchandise and rep that wherever they live. It's just such an important part of marketing to have retail availability and, to have people out wearing your brand. So that's a huge piece for us. So yeah, our conversations started first and foremost with Mitchell and Ness, who had done a Faithful to the Bay collection with us for last year. So started with them on a lot of the overseas product that had really, a long runway for those. And then ended up getting a lot of other retailers involved, 47 brand and Highland and Mint. And so we're working on a lot of different things, both hard goods and apparel that'll be available to fans. And on Monday or Sunday night, when we launched the video, we also launched a select number of items for this week for launch week, including shirts, commemorative footballs, and hats that fans can already purchase now.
You mentioned the Faithful to the Bay campaign, and I'm curious to hear how it went because last year was a very unique year for sports fans everywhere with the pandemic. The NFL, to their credit, was able to make it through the entire season there. And starting with that, what was it like for you guys, and how did that campaign work out?
The campaign did really well. I mean, overall, we launched right ahead of season in August of last year. We got over 3 million engagements and impressions on digital social. We sold out of our Faithful to the Bay retail collection. Our hero piece of that retail collection was the satin jacket, red and gold throwback satin jacket that had Faithful to the Bay on the back. And those we couldn't keep in stock. We did multiple reorders of those, even upped our amount that we ordered for this year. So on top of that, we also, I believe Alex touched on this last time when you guys chatted, but we really grew our relationships with our celebrities and social influencers as well. And we were able to include them in really unique ways. We had Sweetie coming on, and she was a guest on a virtual fan event that we had. We had Tyler Rich, who's a country singer, perform at our virtual graduation last year. So really used it as an opportunity to kind of push ourselves and think outside the box of how can we find new ways to involve them. And so just overall, the Faithful to the Bay campaign has done really well so far. And we're really excited to, as with it being a multi-year campaign, to continue that this year and beyond.
How have you guys adapted or shifted your mindset this year as it relates to fan engagement? Because the temperature in the room is slightly different, but we didn't forget and we're still just in a different part of this process. So I'm curious from you guys, what are you thinking about for this upcoming season?
So for us, I mean, we're really excited right now looking at other sports, specifically other Bay Area teams, the Sharks, the Giants that are getting A's that are getting fans back. And so that's really encouraging to see. And we're really excited about, having fans in stadium this season. We know we'll have fans, it's just to what degree. So that's still being worked on. But for us, we're really looking forward to being able to have that in-person connection with fans again. It was really cool last year to, given the circumstance, again, we had to push ourselves and think of new ways to connect with fans and do virtual events with them and all of that. But you definitely miss, going on a year of that or over a year of that now, you miss that in-person element. So for us, we're just really excited about being able to connect with the faithful in person again.
So I'm curious on two things then. One, do you expect that we will continue to see more digital? And then number two, do you think that that's going to put an even more of an emphasis on the in-person, since we're all craving for it so much, but we also realize the potential that digital offers someone who's not in the Bay to still connect with the 49ers, almost like I know things weren't exactly what we wanted last year, but we learned a lot that's actually going to allow us to engage both online and offline even more.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there are learnings that we took from last year of, looking at our fan base. Only X% of those, a small amount of those fans are really able to come to the stadium and come to a game. When you look at, all the fans that we have across the world. So I think it's important to still have a virtual element of thinking, how can we engage these fans who aren't able to step foot in the building and come to games, and continue to think of that and have that top of mind. So I definitely think last year, it was a good exercise for us to have to go through. Really, we started off with having to completely flip draft very quickly and turn that into a virtual experience, a virtual draft party. So I think there's elements we can definitely take moving forward, but I know we are excited to have that in-person element back for sure.
Allie, I really enjoy following what the 49ers are doing. It's a credit to you guys to jump on this show and talk a little bit more about what's going on from a marketing mindset side of things, because I know so many people dream of working in sports or for a sports team and want to know the inner workings. And you guys do a very good job, certainly with the rich history that you guys have, as well as your forward-thinking nature on things. I'm curious how you bridge the gap on that, where you're still focused on today while still showing love to the years past when everything was always fantastic.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, I always tell people we're blessed that we have such a rich history, and to work for a legacy brand is just a dream. So I think for us, it's never forgetting that past, right? There's so many iconic moments in 49ers history. So always nodding to our history and that tradition, but thinking forward in terms of what can we do to really capture those future fans. We have the fans that are already fans of our team, and so many of them can relate to when we show clips through the years of Montana and Jerry Rice and Steve Young. But we have a lot of newer fans that, are either, just becoming a fan, or, those future fans that are at an age where, we could be getting them as a fan. So thinking about how we, as a brand, we can push ourselves to be more current and culturally relevant. Music is a big part of that. Influencers, celebrity, of just ways to really help the brand, be future focused and current and relevant. TikTok's another great example of that. So really looking at ways to strategically use platforms and relationships to push the brand forward, while also, being sure to honor and pay tribute to our past at the same time. So it's just a balance of that, for sure.
And by the way, I have to give a shout out to George Kittle. Loved his podcast that he did with Kyle Brandt on 10 Questions. 10 Questions is one of my favorite podcasts because I love all things sports and all things football. Kyle's an awesome host. Love GMFB. But George Kittle is one of my favorite players in football because he's a personality. He mixes excellence and mindset. And it was such a great opportunity to get to know a little bit more about how he ticks. So he's both funny and serious and excellent at the same time. Do you have any insight on George Kittle that you can share with us? Because I know so many people love him.
I mean, Kittle's just the best. When we think of personality, he's, the first one that comes to mind of just a larger than life personality. So he's great to work with whenever we do shoots with him. We did a Kittle bobblehead and we did some content that we captured with him in the bobblehead, and he was really fun on that shoot. So what I'd tell people is that he's exactly what you see when he does an interview. He's exactly like that. Just a great guy with an awesome personality. And, when I gave the example of, looking towards the future of being culturally relevant, utilizing our relationships with celebrity and influencers and pop culture, an example we did with Kittle last year is we had video of Kittle during training camp singing Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne, which I didn't even know he would know that song. But we had video of him singing that, got in touch with Avril Lavigne's team and actually, sent Avril a jersey, and she did a video message for Kittle that was played in game. We surprised him with that shout out from Avril during a game, captured content of it, and that did really well on social. The NFL amplified it. So that's an example of being able to use our players and that celebrity influencer integration to, have touch on pop culture and integrate that into our marketing.
Allie, really enjoyed this conversation. Certainly all eyes will be on the 49ers when that card comes up for the number 3 pick. And we, of course, will be following the 75th anniversary campaign. Where can everybody connect with you and learn more about what you guys have going on?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Allie Dicken on LinkedIn. And then also I'm on Twitter as Allie721, ALLIE 721. And then in terms of, 49ers site, we have 49ers.com, and our dedicated 75th page is 49ers.com/75. So you can go there to learn more about what we're up to for the 75th anniversary.
And I want to hear from you. I'm curious how your sports fandom for the NFL has changed from last year to this year. We're certainly in a different climate. I know on my end, I'm craving even more football, but I would love to hear from you. You can hit me up on all social media platforms at Rob Cressy, and you can head to robcressy.com. I got a lot of resources for you on content creation and brand marketing. I would love to help you on your journey.